All right, everybody should have Unit 6, Data and Statistics, on, and that should be page 36. Let me fix that. So on page 36, you do need to have your unit page. All right, on page 37, oh, let me talk about this first. Okay, so, this indicator that we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna be talking about it for a few lessons, okay? So today we're gonna start, when we talk about a measure of center, okay, we're talking about the middle, the center, the median, the middle of the data, okay? So when we're talking about the measure of center, we're talking about mean, median, and mode, the 3 M's. Mean, median, and mode are talking about measures of center. When we're talking about measures of spread or variability, we're talking about distance, okay? When you spread out peanut butter on a piece of bread, what do? You go the distance, right, from edge to edge, right? So when we're talking about spread, we're talking about how much it varies. And with that, we're going to be talking about range today. When we get to lesson 3, we'll talk about interquartile range. And we're going to be given a set of data, okay? We're not going to go find a set of data. We're going to be given a set of data. And a set of data is just a set of numbers that we're given. So our focus statement for today is, I can calculate the mean, median, mode, and range when given a set of data. Okay, if somebody gives you some numbers, you can figure out what all that other stuff. Okay, so the first thing we've got to talk about is, how do you get this information? How do we get our data? All right, and there are several different ways that we can get our data. One way is, let's say that I want to find out the temperature of Matby, South Carolina on March 15th for the last 10 years. Then what do I need to do? The high temperature on March 15th for the last 10 years. What am I going to have to do?
Find data.
How do I do that?
You research it.
I research it. So one way to gather data is to research it, okay? You can look it up. Another way, if there is a weatherman that has been at a station for 30 years, you might could go to that person and interview him or her, okay? You may get other types of data by interviewing someone, all right? What if I wanted to find out the average or mean salary of all teachers in this school? What could I do?
Go ask the teacher.
Which is an interview. What's another way? What's something people do all the time? Can I do a survey and send them a link? Yeah, I could. So I could send them a link and they could fill it out. And I know my dots are not lined up with mine because mine are written bigger. So I could survey. What if I wanted to find the mean height of everyone in this classroom? Measure. I would measure. Or use tools. I would use a ruler, okay? I would use a ruler. If I wanted to measure the average rainfall in March of this year, I would use a rain gauge to measure how much rain we get every day, okay? So we would measure. Those are ways that we can gather data. Now, I am going to tell you, and I want you to write this over here to the side. The more data the better your analysis will be. If I only measure 2 people in this class and I say, oh, well, the average height in Miss Bird's second period math class is 5 feet. Is that really a good thing? No, why not?
Because different people are different heights.
Yep, I only measured how many people?
2.
2. If I measured all 20 people in here, would it be a better analysis for me to say the average height in Miss Bird's second period math class is 5 feet 2 inches, period? Would that be better?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be better, okay? That means I took everybody's height that's in here and averaged them together, all right? The more data you have, the better your analysis is. If you only have a few points, it's not very accurate, okay? The more points we have, the better it is. Now, when we're measuring center, okay, we want to know the middle of our data, the center of our data. Those are the M's. Those are mean, median, and mode. Those are the centers, okay? Mean, median, and mode. If we want to measure variation, or we want to measure, another word for variation is spread, or distance, we are going to measure the range, okay? If we want to measure spread or distance or variation, we're going to measure range. That's the space between the highest and the lowest. So, in Mr. Sterling's class at the very beginning of the year, you talked about these things, right? You learned to calculate all of these. So, a lot of you know the word average, okay, because you've heard your average in math is a 95. What does that mean? It's not your highest grade in math.
Like you take all of our grades together and you average them, and that means like you divide and you multiply them to see what like the highest number you can get out of all the grades.
So when I'm finding your average, I add them all together and divide by the number of numbers, which is a little more in depth because we have weighted grades. Certain things count certain percentages. But when you're finding the average, you're adding everything up and dividing by your number of numbers, okay?
What my mom had is she had this like little blue tool she uses. So if there's like 5 questions they miss,
That's your easy grader. That helps you just put the score on the test. Okay, the median is the middle. That means you're marking off high and low until you get to the middle. Mode is the number that's there the most often, and range is the distance between the highest number and the lowest number. Now, I can stand up here and talk about the meaning of these words all day long, but it's not going to matter, okay? You've got to practice. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down these numbers on the left, okay? It's 15, 17, 20, 20, and 25. I want you to write those numbers on the left side of your journal. The very first thing that we're going to do before we do anything else, and this is what you should always do every time you're asked to do anything with data and statistics, you need to put your numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay? I want you to do that. I did that for you, didn't I? Dang. Wasn't thinking. That's always your first step, okay? Doesn't matter what you're doing, your numbers need to be in order from least to greatest, all right? Now, I am... I want you to add, when we find the mean, the first thing you have to do is add your numbers up. Jenna, will you sign into that? And will you sign into yours? So go ahead and get you on the internet. And then you can use your device as a calculator. Add them up. Just add those numbers up. That's all I want you to do. All right, let's see. 15 plus 17 is 32. 20 and 20 is 40 is 72. Plus 25 is 97. How many people got 97? All right, when we're finding the average, or the mean, what do I do now that I've added them all together?
Divide how many numbers there are.
So how many numbers do I have? 5. So 97 divided by 5. I want you to do that. Go to your Wi-Fi. Are you on the Wi-Fi? Do you have your numbers? Will you open yours for me? How many people got 19 and 4/10? 19 and 4/10 is what you should have gotten, okay? Now, to find the median is what?
The middle.
The median is the middle number. So I've got to mark off. I'm going to mark off, and please watch what I do. I'm not going to mark out the numbers. If you mark out the numbers, it's hard to use them again. You're going to have to rewrite them, okay? Mark out above. Put a little slash above. Low, high. That's 1, 1. Low, high. And I'm left with what? 20. What does mode mean?
The one that's often, the one that's the one that's there most often.
The one that's there most often. So, what number is there the most often?
20.
20. And range is our variation. It's the difference. It's the distance. It's the spread. So we're going to have to subtract the highest number minus the lowest number, which is what?